Hi everybody, this is Laura, City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today I have a layout that I made for a punched out Thursday to die for. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to start this layout, so I picked out two photos and I was thinking that I wanted to cut them in some different shapes. I was going to use hexagons, and then I was thinking I really haven't used diamonds recently. So I decided that I would use the diamonds because I was still able to cut out the photos and keep enough of it that you could still see what was going on, that I was still happy with the cropping. So I cut out these two photos. They're both of my daughter Julia on her birthday when she was turning 15. And I decided I would use a mixed media background. So I took a piece of gessoed thick white cardstock, and now I'm adding some sprays, and I'm going to add the sprays on the right-hand side in kind of a strip going from the top to the bottom. I'm going to be placing the photos on top of it. So again, I wasn't really sure exactly what direction I was going to go in, but I knew that I wanted to have the diamond pictures and I knew I wanted to have some mixed media. So I'm starting out with two different sprays that are both pink. One's a light pink. That is a Lindy's in Cotton Candy. And then the darker pink is a Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. And that is called Strawberry Cream. And I use the packaging technique, and I'm applying the color in a couple of layers. In between each layer, I'm drying with my heat tool. Now I'm adding a little bit of yellow. The yellow is also a Lindy Starburst spray, and the color is Yellow Rose of Texas. And then I wanted to add a turquoise color. I couldn't find just the right color, so I mixed together two colors. One of them is a Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, that's called Leapfrog, and then the other one is a Lindy Starburst spray, and that one is called Blue Hawaiian Blue. And that combination, it isn't quite turquoise, but it did look like one of the colors in the pattern papers that I'm going to be using. And the pattern paper collection that I'm using is an Echo Park collection called Party Time. And you'll see it in a little while. There's a whole bunch of really bright colors. I just used this collection recently, and I really like the color combination, and I like the way there are touches of black, so I thought that I would try using it again for this layout. And it's going to go in the same scrapbook, and maybe I'll put the two layouts right next to each other. So I was feeling that I liked the area of color on the right, and I thought that I would add another smaller area on the left. This one would be a horizontal patch of color. I use all of the same colors. I start off with the light pink, and then I use the dark pink, and then I'll add the yellow, and then also the greenish blue. I usually cut out when I dry the background, but I do want you to know that I use the heat tool in between every layer of color. It makes working on the background much quicker, and it also allows me to add more than one layer of color rather quickly, and I like the way multiple layers of color makes the color look more intense. The drawback is that the heat tool will cause the paper to curl a little bit, so I run my paper through my Mink machine, and that helps to flatten it out. I add a lot of splatters, and I use all four colors to add splatters, and I add them mainly to the outside border of both of the areas of color. I think that it helps to transition the large area of color into the background when there's a border of splatters between the two areas. Once I'm happy with the shapes the sprays made and the amount of color in each area, I sprinkled some droplets of water on top of the sprays, and then I rolled paper towel over it, and I do this every time. I just love the way when the color is lifted up by rolling the paper towel over the water. It makes just a really neat effect. And then once I dried the background, I wanted to add some stamping. My Stays On ink pads were not working so well. I tried both of them. One was totally not working, and then the other one was working just a little bit. But I wanted a little bit of a darker effect here. So I was trying to consider what I should do, and then I looked through my stamp pads and I realized that I had purchased another one at a big sale that the Joann near me was having. They were redoing the store, so they were getting rid of a lot of the ink pads for some reason. And so I had an extra black, jet black stays on, and now I'm able to do some stamping. So the stamp that I'm using now is a Technique Tuesday stamp. This is a really old stamp. It's called A Little Round, and I love this stamp. It also came with some really tiny circles, and I really wish I hadn't lost two of them because those little circles come in really handy. But in any case, some of the stamping got a little bit too dark. You could see on the lower left-hand corner, but I wasn't worried because I knew that I hadn't even started adding the embellishments to the page. And I was pretty sure that that was an area that I could easily cover up. So the stamps that I'm using now are from a two-piece stamp set from Studio G. I don't have any more information because the packaging didn't have any other means of identifying these stamps, but I thought they went really well with the Technique Tuesday stamp. And then I added some black dots using a Stampin' Up stamp that I have. You could see in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And then I went back in again with the Studio G stamp. I was hoping that I hadn't gone a little overboard with adding the stamping, but it ended up being fine. Now I'm adding some watered down black acrylic paint. I thought that black splatters would be a good addition to the page, and I like the idea of adding those stamped dots, and I thought that the splatters would be similar, except they would be a little bit larger. And then I add some watered down white acrylic paint. I always find these two to be a good combination for pretty much any mixed media area. And unlike the black splatters, the white splatters don't always sit on top of the page. They seem to get more absorbed by the color. So I always feel like you can't add too many of them because they're not super visible in the end anyhow. But now I'm taking my photos and I'm making a mat for both of them. The diamond shape that I used, that was the biggest die that was in that set, so I would have used a die if there was a larger one, but there wasn't. But it was easy enough to just put the pictures on a piece of black cardstock and then cut a mat around them. I wanted to add some dimension to the photos, so I was looking for my foam. For some reason, I couldn't find my fun foam anywhere. But I did find a zippered pouch with a whole bunch of this chipboard that is left over once all of the chipboard pieces are removed from the sheet. And I think that this is also a great way to pop up photos. It's not as easy to use as the fun foam, but I do like the idea of using up the whole chipboard sheet and not throwing any of it away. So you can see here that I have put some ATG adhesive on the back of the black photo mats, and now I'm piecing together some of those chipboard pieces and adding some more ATG, and then I'm going to place the photos over the big area of color. I was thinking that I might put some strips of paper going up and down through the mixed media, but I decided to start with this birthday cake. It's a sticker that's from that Echo Park collection. And because the photos are mounted on black, I wanted this to be mounted on black as well. So I added some black cardstock, and now I'm just fussy cutting around the cake and adding just a small border of black, just so it'll be visible and it will stand out on the layout. On the candles on the top of the cake, it says happy birthday, so that's going to be the title of this layout. It has to be the most unoriginal title that I have ever used, although titles are really not my forte. My daughter Danielle, she always comes up with great titles. So if she's around, I always ask her to help me out with a title because she'll think of something clever. But this definitely isn't clever, but I'm okay with it. I think that that cake looks really nice on the left-hand side. I added a banner to the upper left-hand corner. I wasn't sure if I was going to leave it there. It just seemed to be missing something, but I'm leaving it there for now. And then I absolutely love these confetti stickers. There were 3 of them on the sticker sheet. I wish there were far more than that. I really love that shape. I had looked for a punch that was in a confetti shape, and I found something that wasn't quite right. It was definitely confetti, but it just didn't have the effect that I wanted it to. But I love the shape of these stickers. Then to add a little bit more festivity to the layout, I'm adding some balloons. These balloons are Paper Studio brand, and I really like these balloons. They're very shiny, and I think if they still have them, when I go back, I'm going to get some more because I went through 2 packs of them in almost no time. So I'll check that next time I go shopping. I'm trying out this confetti-filled balloon. This is from Jolie's Boutique. It's yellow, and I think that it's pretty. I ended up not leaving it on the layout. I just felt that the yellow wasn't as nice as the yellow of the smaller balloons. So I'll take that off in a little bit. But right now I'm adding some fun foam to the cake. I went downstairs where I keep all my fun foam and I grabbed some because I find the foam a little bit easier to work with than the chipboard. And then there was a frame that I think it was in the ephemera pack, and I added a black border to that too. And then I'm attaching both of those down to the bottom of the layout. And I didn't even realize I had the ephemera pack. I was going through all of my birthday embellishments and I realized that this pack matched with the paper collection. So I was really pleasantly surprised to see that. And then I added a black border to the banner at the top, the same way I added the border to the cake, and I popped it up on some foam because the photos had a black mat and then also the frame and the cake. I thought that the banner looked a little bare without it, so I added a black border to that banner, and then I also popped that up on some foam and placed it back on the top of the layout. And I'm not sure what you call these pieces that I'm putting down now, but they were circular and I thought that they would look nice on either side of the photo cluster. So I cut a pink one in half and a yellow one in half and then placed half on either side. On the right hand side, I added a little circular die cut that says yay on it. I wanted to add some more things that I use either punches or dies to make. So I used this Fiskars border punch and I punched out two 12-inch long border strips. And I asked my younger daughter if she thought I should include them or not. And she suggested that instead of putting one at the top and the bottom, that I put one on the bottom and one on the side. And I love this idea. And I always use my family as my scrapbooking consultants. My daughter Danielle gives me a lot of advice, but I find everyone's advice very useful. Sometimes I think when I'm too involved in a project, it's hard for me to see it objectively. So I do like to use all the members of my family to help me when I can. I added a red rhinestone heart on top of the cake. That was from a pack of Momenta stickers. And now I'm adding a little sentiment that says hooray. That is from a sticker sheet that was included in the collection. And I'm popping that up on some foam. Right on top of that is a sentiment that says having so much fun. That was the only embellishment left from a pack of soft-spoken stickers that I used on the other layout that I made using this same birthday collection. And then on top of that is a small wood embellishment. It says smile, or hashtag smile. And that was from the same birthday themed sticker pack that I got the red star from. I add a balloon to the banner at the top. I end up taking that away. I just didn't like the way it sat there. I was thinking initially that I should include it because I wanted to have balloons in all of the clusters, but it just didn't work there. So I end up taking that off in a little bit. Right now I'm adding some really tiny rhinestones to the page. I got these rhinestones in one of those big Hobby Lobby clearance sales. I think they were like 49 cents for this whole pack. And so I added them to the sentiments, and then I also added them to the bottom of the plate that the cake is resting on. And then I didn't want to have the rhinestones in two areas at the bottom and then nothing at the top, so I thought I would add them to the banner as well. And they're so tiny, I absolutely could not hold them in my fingers. I had to use these scissors to help me place them on the layout. And then I added one more to a banner that's on the frame. I'm going to write the date in that little spot to the left of the jewel that I just put down, so I thought that that would be a nice little addition. So I added the date with a black marker. And then there was something about this layout that just screamed enamel dots to me. I just felt I had to put some on the page. So I put some on the banner, and then I put some on the photos, one in each of those points of the diamond. I felt that all the enamel dots that were on the photos should be the same size, but for the banner, I varied the size a little bit. I used some medium size and some very tiny ones. I tried a big pink one, but I didn't like the way that the larger one looked, so I stuck with the medium and small sizes. As a finishing touch, I wanted to add some more of, I was calling it confetti before, but I think that those are streamers. and I wanted to add some more of those. I didn't have any more from the sticker sheet, so I found that I had these dies in my birthday envelope of all of my dies, and I thought that these would be just perfect to add a couple more things to the background. So I cut several out of some of the different colors of pattern paper in the collection, and I don't use all of them, but I placed a few on the layout. I didn't want to overdo it because it's already kind of a busy layout. And now I'm attaching some adhesive to the back of them and putting them on a couple of different places on the background. That's the last touch that I add to this layout. Here are some close-ups. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate your watching this video, and thank you so much for staying until the end. As always, if you take a look in the description box, you'll find links to all of the other ladies who take part in A Punched Out Thursday to Die For. And in no particular order, because they're all wonderful, they are Sonia, Dorothy, Ronnie Sue, Kathy, and Kathy. I hope that this layout has inspired you to dust off some of your punches and your dies and add them to your layouts. I hope that everybody has a fantastic day, and I will see you again next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.